Hola, buenos días.
Buenas tardes, buenas noches.
This is Barb.
And this is Estella.
And welcome to
Cafecito
and Crime. So, today's episode will be brought to you by moi. And I wanted to give you the series of the Barbie Chronicles that I'm going to start since last week. Last week it was a roach. This week it's going to be... No, last week was a roach. And then this week is this. So,
the chlorine roach.
Yeah, the marine swimmer fucking Michael Phelps roach. So this week, I'm going to tell you all the story about how I went to a quince this weekend.
Sweet 16.
Sweet 16, excuse me. So I went to a Sweet 16, and it was in Frost, Texas. So it's a little bit further from Dallas, like outside of Dallas. So ya llegué, todo, everything was cool. I was looking cute con my little outfit. You know, my sister came with me and my nephews, and we're having a good time. And so comimos y todo, and we saw the Sweet 16, the 16 birthday girl. She did her little dance. It was so cute, whatever. Okay, she looked gorgeous. Anyway, so it was all of my husband's family. So it wasn't my family. It was just his family. But I mean, I'm
his side of the family.
Yeah, his side. But I've been in the family, a million
forever.
years. So anyway, my sister-in-law was sitting at another table with my mother-in-law. And so my kids were with her and all of this shit. So since my sister didn't really know a lot of people there, she was kind of feeling uncomfortable. So she's like, hey, I think it's time for us to go. We had already ate.
Do I know the story?
No, I don't think you know the story. So it was already midnight. You know, I think I did tell you. I don't know. So it was already midnight. And then it was literally, this place is like, there's nothing but it's a ranch. Like not even a ranch. It's like open field. So
it's land. It's a piece of land.
It's a piece of land. Yeah, they had just cleaned it up just for the Sweet 16. Like that was the only reason. So I go over there and I go and say to my mother-in-law que ya me iba. So me acerqué and I was like, ya me voy, you know, whatever. But she was sitting right next to the músicos, which they were like blasting the music. So I go over there, I'm like, ya me voy, whatever. My sister was behind me. I was like, es que ya se quiere ir Vanessa, because of course I blame my sister, because why would I not?
Yeah.
And so then I was like, es que, and she was like, oh, ya se va.
But you weren't lying.
No, she was wanting to leave because she was like, I don't really know anybody. I feel weird, whatever. But anyway, because I don't feel weird when I don't know them. I feel like I'm not like that. So whatever.
Yeah.
So then cuando me le acerco a mi sister, mind you, this was like I said, a ranch, and there was nothing but dirty, like
hay and stuff.
Literal hay. Like that's what it was. So me le acerqué a mi suegra para decirle que ya me iba. I feel ants on my foot. Okay. So I'm like, fuck, there's ants on my foot. Mind you, I'm standing literally in front of like all of these tables of people that are like sitting watching the group play, you know? So I'm like, I can't like do any sudden movements or like agacharme ni nada because I'm wearing a dress or whatever.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, sí, ya me voy, okay. And so she kept talking to me and I'm like, sí, okay,
yeah, because you know que nunca se corta la
So
plática.
then I was like, okay. And so then we walk away and I'm like trying to get off the ants off my foot, but apparently some of them were still inside of my chancla, like inside of my chancla.
Yeah.
So then when I get to the truck, I'm like, fuck. Like I take off my chancla and I tell my sister, desde ahorita ya sé, girl.
It's because Barbie's allergic to ant bites.
Yes. So my foot estaba fucking swollen the next morning. And I couldn't take Benadryl because it was already like, 2:00 in the morning, and we stopped to get tacos. And then we were like, I hadn't drank anything. We weren't like drunk or anything, but we were hungry. So we went and got something and whatever. Girl, when I tell you, I already knew it. I knew it. Yeah. Dicho y hecho, the next morning, I felt it was tight. Why does this shit happen to me every time? Like something has happened to me every time.
I don't know.
So then I vengo driving the next day all the way back home with the fucking fucked up foot.
Was it your right foot or your left foot?
It was my right foot. So I had to drive with it.
Well, at least you were like putting it in motion instead of just dejarlo que se pusiera tieso or something,
That's
you know?
That's true. But there was no reason for the ants to kill me like that. I mean...
It's their home. You were on it.
I was on their home, yes.
But you didn't mean to. It was an accident.
I literally we were leaving.
But that's what they do, you know? Yeah. So I don't think they meant any harm.
And it was hot, so I think that they're in
wanted a little bit of fresh
place
air.
I mean, maybe they wanted to leave with me. I don't know. And they were like, hey, let me catch a ride on her foot. Yeah. I don't know. But yeah.
How's your
Chronicles, foot now? It itches really bad. It's not swollen. It was swollen for 2 days.
Vaporu?
Ya me eché.
Okay.
So it was swollen for 2 days. Pero ya ahorita ya just have like it did have pus. Mm-hmm. And so all of that good stuff. Pero ya ahorita ya se me quitó. Pero, I mean, it's the Barbie Chronicles. Everything has to happen to me.
Siempre te pasa algo.
In the words of my dad, Bárbara Tragedias. Yeah, that's my name. I should get a name tag. A wow car. Oh, no, it's a motorcycle. They have anything better to do. But anyway, so today... Oh, it's still going. Wow. Today we will be speaking, or I will be discussing the story of, I don't know if you've heard of her, but her name is Tricia Todd. So we're going to be going to Hope Sound, Florida. Sound, Florida. Okay. So if you would like to come with us and listen to
today's case
we have to say about Hope Sound, Florida.
Yeah.
Grab your cafecitos.
And let's get started.
So like I said, we're going to Hope Sound, Florida. So fun fact. Oh, wow. Fun fact for today is that the quiet town of Hope Sound is actually the highest point in Florida.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's actually called Hobe Mountain, Hobe, which is 86 feet above sea level. So it's pretty impressive for the flat state of Florida.
Yeah.
So Hope Mountain is actually an ancient sand dune located in Jonathan Dickinson State Park. The visitors can climb up to the top of the mountain and absorb a tower offering incredible panoramic views of the Atlantic Ocean and Western Dune Ridge.
Interesting. I'm going to pull it up because I am
not only
curious.
That, but I also read another one that was about how President Clinton ate shit at Hope Sound. Yeah, he was there at a golfing tournament and he fell and he had that's an actual fact.
Okay, it's close. It's close to Fort Lauderdale and that side of Miami and stuff. Okay, okay.
So apparently it's very gorgeous and they're in the neighboring I guess
oh, can I go hiking
island?
On it?
They call it island. The neighboring island is called Jupiter, Florida, and that's one of the most exclusive.
Yeah, it's people retire there.
People retire there. It's really, really for all the people that have they have all the manis that I don't have. Mm-hmm. So what brings us to Hope, Florida? Once again, Hope Sound, Florida. It would be Miss Tricia Todd. So Tricia Todd was a 33-year-old Air Force vet, mother of one, and she was also a hospice nurse.
Oh, yes.
She was the shit. So Tricia grew up in the area of Hope Sound, Florida. Not really there at the Hope Sound, Florida
but the
area,
surrounding
but in the
areas.
area. And she was from a very Christian family, super Christian. Mm-hmm. She was homeschooled by her parents, as well as she was the only girl of 8. So that means she had 7 brothers.
Was she the oldest or no?
She was in the middle.
Oh, okay. That's so weird. You have a ton of boys, not a ton, but you have some boys, a girl, and then more boys.
Some more boys, yeah. So she was very tomboyish and outdoorsy, and she loved to be outside. After being homeschooled, she was enrolled into the Hope Sound Christian Academy, where she excelled and was very intelligent. After that, she did go to public school to graduate high school in 2004.
Okay.
So she graduated same year I did.
Oh, you graduated in 2004?
Yeah.
Oh.
So very far away from there. This is where she met her high school sweetheart. His name is Stephen Williams. He also was from a very religious family. He was raised by a single mom. So he was very proper, correct. He didn't break any rules. Actually, her brother was in one of the interviews that I was inside or something like that, watching. Y dijo que all he remembers of Steven is he was always on those honor roll papers and he was
the list?
the list of people, whatever. So he was very, very intelligent as well. Mm-hmm. So Tricia, like I said, she did become a hospice nurse eventually, but before that, she was a pediatric nurse for a little bit.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and then she did join the Air Force after being a pediatric nurse before becoming a hospice nurse. Mm-hmm. So when she was in the Air Force, she was deployed to South Asia, where she was assigned to a squadron and spent 2 years in service.
Wow.
Tricia gave birth to a baby girl in 2014, and she named her Faith because of the faith that they had to God.
Oh.
Yes, they were really, really very religious. Big on church. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. She really wanted to become a mom. And after she tried for many, many years, she actually got pregnant with Faith. And she actually found out she was pregnant while on a missionary trip with her church in Haiti. So, like I said, she was a really, really good mom. Like I said before, she was very outdoorsy and all that, but her family remembers her as being
the best mom.
The best mom. Because she had been trying for so long. Yeah, and so she was like, this is my baby miracle, in the words of my nephew, my baby child. Mm-hmm. And so she was obsessed with her.
And what about Stephen?
And Stephen was there.
Oh.
That's about it.
Oh, your face is
basically Faith was her everything,
world.
and she put her before everything, before anything. And according to her brother, like I said, she was such an awesome mom. Also, she was actually known as a very good nurse as well. The hospice place that she would go, she would often pray with the people that were going through hard times, and she was a very good person in that sense.
I mean, and I'm sorry, but people that are hospice nurses are like angels, because to be able to do that job, I can't imagine.
It was said that she wasn't afraid of death. She said that she knew where she was going, and she knew she was going to go to heaven and that kind of thing. But that, I mean, she was okay with that, I guess, because of her career and stuff. So basically, she was a good person all around, compassionate and that. So Tricia had an online journal, which I didn't know you could do this, but you can have a journal and just like kind of post on it or on your own time whenever you have time.
Is it like a website that you know of?
I don't know. I guess she just had an online journal.
The only thing I can think of is like just pulling up Word and then just writing something on there.
Or maybe like, I thought maybe Facebook or something, but then I'm like, you don't want everybody to know your business like that. So I don't know. But
a lo mejor si hay una página de internet where you could do that, you know?
Yo creo que sí ha de ver porque
I'm sure.
Yo lo encontré, pero hay todo. There's an app for that.
Yeah, exactly.
So she would basically write about anything.
A journal, yeah.
Yeah. So at this point, she gave a little bit of an insight of how things were going with Stephen in reality, because obviously por fuera todo se miraba bien, rosas y la madre, pero as we know, that's not always true.
Right.
And she would write about it in her
online journal.
One of the entries of the diary or journal, what would I call it? Diary?
Journal.
Okay.
Journal.
Of her journal stated that she did have a lot of love for Stephen. Sí lo quería y lo respetaba mucho because he was the father of her child, but that she did see the side of him that she did not ever want to see.
And by this point, they had already been together for like a decade, right?
Yeah, around a decade. Yeah. So there was a time where she wrote that Stephen had accidentally killed one of her kittens.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
How do you accidentally kill a kitten?
Yeah, he broke his neck.
Let's take a quick break.
Persons of Interest is back, and it's bigger than ever.
That scream will echo in my head for many years.
Taser! 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 He's gonna shoot!
Oi! Shot fired! Shots fired! Shots fired!
Stay out! You got a gun on you!
He had the perfect aim.
I am absolutely stressed at that point. I have no idea where my officers are.
Persons of Interest available everywhere you get your podcasts.
Yeah. So she said something along. She did talk about it, and she said that you must be a very bad person internally for you to do something like that to such a sweet baby kitten. Like it was, she was devastated. Apparently, he would do that a lot. Like le mataba a los animales.
What?
Like kind of like a sense of
like I can do this to you.
Than you.
Like
yeah, I'm stronger than you. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I know. Accidentally, I don't know about that. So the couple were in the process of getting divorced. So
okay, good.
She also mentions about how she calls him her soon-to-be ex-husband, and a lot of the, she
entries?
was ready, like to get.
Yeah, she was taking that step.
She was taking that step, and she's saying that she just needed to let out of all of the things that she wanted to say,
she wanted to get it off her chest, porque hay muchas cosas que no le puedes decir a alguien.
No le puedes contar eso a tu cuñada o a tu suegra or something about what's going on, or your siblings,
or your parent.
That's your family. They don't want to see you suffer.
So they don't want to hear that. Down. Yeah.
And so then after that, she took him back.
Okay.
2 months after, she took him back, and they tried to work it out again. She said that he was with God. I guess le dijo que se iba a componer or whatever. I don't know what he told her. So she puts in her entry that he was a better person, y that que they were going to be together, and that she needed to learn how to, I guess, be with her husband and follow his lead. I don't know. I'm just going by what this says.
Okay, I'm not going to say anything.
In March 2015, they did finalize their divorce after 11 years of being married.
Okay, so after that, it was like, this is not going to work. He probably went back to doing other cosas que no deben de haciendo.
And exactly. They did go ahead and, like I said, get divorced 11 years. So they had been together for 11 years, like you said, about a decade. They were doing good, and they were friendly. Like, they were okay. So se habían separado, pero they were like, let's get along for the baby child.
Pero también they were like, okay, we're not going to work out.
We're not going to work out.
Let's both agree to go our separate ways.
So apparently, like, Tricia's parents, her dad sale en una de las interviews, and he talks about how much of a gentleman Steven is. Like, he was a very good person to her, que la trataba bien, like, because of the fact that probably Tricia wasn't telling anybody.
Right, that's what you portray to the other people. I mean, to the rest of the world.
So, also, Tricia made pretty good money as a hospice nurse, so she declined any alimony, pero she did want to,
child support.
Child support was $1,200.
Okay.
So, he was supposed to pay this child support, and he was supposed to see Faith every weekend or
every other weekend.
And it looked like everything was going well. Everything was cool.
And how old was Faith by this point? Like a year?
Yeah, because she was in
2014. Yeah.
So Tricia and Faith moved into Hope Song, back to Hope Song, to where she was from, to get into a quiet neighborhood. Everybody around her neighbors said that, you know, she was always outside with Faith. They were playing tic-tac-toe.
And her family lived there too?
Yes,
still?
Everybody was there. Okay. And also she was by the water, but there was a lot of like trees and that kind of like
with
wildlife.
Nature and stuff like that.
So she liked that. So everything seemed like it was going nice and quiet and pretty well for her and Steven and for Faith. But on Wednesday, April the 27th, police received a phone call from Tricia's family reporting her missing. Steven was not living, like I said, with Tricia and her daughter, and he actually was living in North Carolina.
Oh, shit.
Where he was stationed for the Air Force. But he had driven over to see Faith that weekend. So he was going to spend some time with his daughter. So he rented a home, like an Airbnb. He was staying there, and Tricia had already dropped off Faith with him and be like, okay, here you go, have your time with your daughter, and you can do whatever. So at that time, apparently, Steven had been calling her y no le contestaba. And so then he's like, I have to go back to work.
Right.
So then dejó la niña con la babysitter.
Okay.
So then the whatever they were going to do was that she was going to pick up Faith from the babysitter after work, right?
Okay.
Pero nunca llegó.
So la niña se quedó con la babysitter.
Sí. So nunca llegó y luego él habló. La babysitter empezó a buscar a su familia de
Tricia.
De Tricia, porque dice, what's going on? She's never done this before.
Right.
Like, what is it?
See, if she's doing this, it's because something's not right.
Yeah. So, because I would have never thought of something like that would come out of Tricia. So then next thing you know, they were like, no, we haven't seen her. Steven says, I haven't seen her. I
had Faith.
I had Faith. Le dice, he did say he actually had text her back after she dropped off Faith. Le dijo, ¿sabes qué? Faith is not feeling well. Can you come back? She wants her mommy. So then ella dice que she drove back to the Airbnb donde estaba con Steven la niña and just kind of calmed her down. La durmió and she went back home is what Steven is saying.
Okay.
So
but then when esta Tricia went back home from doing that, ya nunca volvió a recoger.
Okay. So after that, Steven's like, I took my daughter to Walmart to buy her some stuff. Then he actually took her to an animal sanctuary that's in Jupiter, which is, next door to close. And he actually was texting Tricia all day. Hey, Tricia, where are you? Are you okay? Just report yourself. And he honestly thought maybe she doesn't want to talk to me. I don't know why, but, I don't know. Basically, we go back to the same thing. He eventually was like, let me drop off Faith.
With the babysitter.
I have to go back to work. So he went back to work. Steven was questioned again, like, hey, so you say you didn't see her. After
her family reported her missing.
Steven was questioned and was like, hey, so tell us, what did you see? What do you remember? And he's like, oh no, I didn't really get worried because it's normal for her. She'll usually just leave for like 24 hours to go meditate or pray in the water. Or like in the nature in the woods or something. So for him, he's like, that was normal, and she's probably just meditating. So I didn't really think that she was really missing at that moment. Whenever he was
he wasn't alarmed.
Mm-mm. Later that night, her neighbor was able to find Tricia's car. It was parked outside her house.
Okay.
So inside the car estaba su bolsa. And some belongings of hers, like her cell phone and her keys. Everything was just put there. The police is like, okay, so now all of a sudden, where is she?
Yeah.
Like, where is she?
And she didn't take any of her stuff.
Didn't take anything with her. So they started to go through the belongings. And the big question was, how did she end up from the Airbnb to her house without her in any of these places.
So
right?
she obviously made it to her house.
She made it to her house.
But then what happened
But then
from
what
there?
happened to her, right? So they started asking the public, hey, can you guys start looking at your cameras or, you know, if any
neighbors,
any local businesses that could have anything that has to do in between the time of this time and this time?
Mm-hmm.
Can somebody, you know, turn anything in? One store did come forward with some footage of Tricia at the Publix. So Publix is kind of like a grocery store. And I guess it was the day before, the night from the 26th of April. And you could see her in the video because the video's online. You can go in there. She's wearing this like black little jumpsuit. Her hair is blonde and curly. And she looks like a free spirit. She really does.
Yeah.
Like she's laughing at the cashier and the cashier's giving her groceries.
But this was the day before, right?
Huh?
This was the day before.
The day before. So they're like, okay, so she doesn't look like she's worried. It doesn't look like she's distressed.
Right.
So we need to find out what's going on.
So the day before, maybe I'm a little bit confused. So this is the day before was the day that she was last seen?
Yes.
Okay.
So they're saying that was when they saw her in video, that was the last time. They were like, no, she didn't look like she was worried. They even talked to the cashier and asked her, hey, do you remember seeing her? And yeah, I saw her. Pero, she just seemed fine. She grabbed her groceries, but we laughed. She joked around. Y se fue. She was wearing a black like dress y unos black flats.
Mm-hmm.
After days of looking for Tricia, detectives had a conference to kind of update about what was going on and what they have found. They did say that they had between 20 to 30 tips of sightings of Tricia.
Okay.
All the way to California. Like, it was like people kept saying that they had seen her.
That's the other side of the country.
Yeah, so they're like, okay, so what's going on? Also, people were trying to give tips and stuff like that. They would follow them, but there was nothing that was coming through or that was actually useful. Yeah. Also, they did at this point said that they had helicopters looking for her, ground officers, and they were even going to the edge of the like water because they were like, okay, well, maybe if she went out to meditate, she fell in the water. Like they did like, or something like that. So, and they did mention to everybody that everybody was very cooperative. Her husband was cooperative. He was cooperating with all the answers.
Her ex-husband? Or they were
her ex-husband, yeah. I'm sorry. I guess her family was doing, answering everything that they were told. So like I said, they were looking everywhere. They were just trying to...
They weren't finding anything.
So they said that they were going to start going through her personal belongings, meaning her journal, right? So that was it of the conference. We can't find anything, basically. So when they did go through her journal, they found out that recently she had met a man. So this man, she really had a big crush on him. She really liked him. And she wrote about him a few times on her entries. And it was kind of passionate, kind of like she liked him more than he liked her, I guess, or whatever. They kept saying she was obsessed. What I read, it didn't sound like she was obsessed. It just sounded like she liked him.
Yeah, she liked him.
So
and then she had been with the same guy for over a decade. And she was probably really excited to like somebody new.
So it looked like there was fire, sparks, that kind of thing. And so she did say a few things about it. I guess she was very into like the stars and ¿cómo se dice?
Astrology.
And so
astrology or astronomy?
Astronomy. Okay. Not astrology, the stars, but astronomy, like
the space, outer space.
No, the other way. Astrology.
You're talking about zodiac signs?
The zodiac signs.
Okay, yeah, astrology.
Okay. So she stated in one of the entries, she said, and I quote, "The painful love affair.
Oh.
It is a Pisces and Scorpio thing. Are you happy? ? I've never had a deep blue love affair with a true Scorpio that didn't feel this way as well."
Oh, wow.
So it seems like they were maybe having some trouble. Or
like you said earlier, right now, it sounded like she was more into it than he was. Yeah. Maybe he just wanted to hook up and she was looking for more or something, Yeah.
And I mean, she seemed like she was very passionate about what she was, maybe she was like, trying to move on.
Yeah, for sure.
She didn't really mention much about him, but they did find the man that she was talking about. And they were actually following him. They followed him around for days and they were expecting to see Tricia with him, but she wasn't with him. And he was actually cleared after a while. They also tried to follow up on a guy that she knew from church, which was kind of crazy to me because I've never heard of this, but they had a ventriloquist that would actually perform at the church. So apparently this ventriloquist, I can't say it.
Ventriloquist. I can't say it either.
Ventriloquist. Is it a ventriculist?
Ventriculist.
No, it's not van. It's ventriculist.
Ventriloquist.
Ventriloquist.
Yeah.
Ventriloquist. Yeah, ventriloquist.
Ventriloquist.
Okay. So that guy, apparently he
At a church?
would perform. Exactly. That's what I was like, wow, at a church, but
That's
okay.
different.
I mean, it is different, but maybe everybody's church is
Different.
So according to everybody around Tricia, he was kind of obsessed with her.
What's the guy's name?
I don't know.
What was his profession?
Okay, Eric. I don't know. He was a ventriculist.
No, ventriloquist.
Ventriloquist.
Yeah, there you go.
Please, people, do not hate us for that. I'm really...
Ventriloquist. Ventriloquist.
I don't know. Anyway, but he actually started saying no. She was actually obsessed with me.
Oh.
Uh-huh.
No.
Yeah. So dijo que no, there was no way. He didn't want anything with her, but she
The ventriloquist.
Yes. Dijo que she was obsessed with him y que he had been trying to stay away from her because he was hiding from her.
So, but this is not the guy that she was talking about in her...
Totally different guys.
That's so weird that it's kind of seemed that he is saying that when that is what kind of seemed to be happening, what she was writing about in her journal with that other guy.
Yeah, exactly. But her family was the one that brought him up. Like nobody.
Right.
So he must have been doing something to cause that attention.
Right.
And he's like, no, actually, I didn't like her. She liked me. And I was actually trying to stay away from her. So I have no idea where she was at. He kind of sounded like a dick.
He did.
Lie. So then, well, they took him out of the...
Suspect list.
No fue. So trying to narrow down at this point to find out where could she be, they said, okay, so she either left because she wanted to be alone. She left because she was forced to leave, or there was foul play. Somebody did something to her, or she needs help. So these are the three things that the cops are like, something's not okay.
Right.
Like I said, she would get lost often. So they were thinking, well, she would go meditate or read the Bible. And so they were like, maybe she just got lost and she really didn't make it back, And, but her parents were like, no, there's no way that she would have left her daughter with Steven.
But also that doesn't make sense because she didn't take anything with her.
No.
Everything was in her driveway, in her car, right?
Yeah. So it's like, okay, so why would she leave Faith with Steven? And then she knew Steven had to go back to work.
Right. She didn't make proper arrangements before she would have, that's something that she would have done.
Of course.
Right.
And her family's like, that's not something that she would do.
Something happened to her.
Something's wrong because she would have at least left an arrangement, like you said. At this point, the family was, like I said, they were very Christian. So they were praying and hoping that something would come to light, or they didn't even know what to think. They just wanted to make sure that they really wanted to find her alive, know, like every other parent. But it was kind of dwindling down that they might not find her alive because, obviously her cell phone hadn't been used.
I mean, her credit card, what is it? The first 48 are usually the most
So
crucial.
Her credit card hadn't been used, but then
do you by any chance did they think que alguien le hizo algo? Like alguien se la llevó?
Yeah, that's what they were thinking, the family. But they said that they
didn't have anybody to look at.
They didn't have anything to look at because the only one that it could have been was her husband, but he was a good guy, like I said.
He was out of the state or whatever. So
not only that, well, he was there at that time.
Right.
And then footage and actually his cell phone towers were pinging at the place where he said he was. He was at Walmart.
They were on good terms.
And they were on good terms.
Right.
He was at Walmart. He had taken Faith to the sanctuary. I mean, he was where he said he was. He had been texting her.
Right.
So, and they stood behind him. They were like, no, it wasn't him.
Okay.
There was no reason for them to suspect that he had done something wrong. Now the police is like, okay, we're going back to basics. Like, let's go see what happened.
Back to the beginning.
Yeah. So they go back to talk to Steven in North Carolina to see if he had more information. I mean, he's the one that supposedly last saw her, according to him. And then the same thing. A few weeks go by and nothing is showing up. And
after they talked to Steven, nada?
Yeah, nothing. And so no new leads came up. So they did suspend the search for her. So now they're like, okay, we need to find a body because now they're saying she has to be dead, unfortunately. So like I said, they're like, somebody did something to her. There was foul play. So they were just keeping her in the missing persons just in case, right? Because of that, her family started losing hope as well. Everything went kind of cold for a little bit, but it doesn't get cold after on May the 24th.
So like a month later, almost.
Like a month later. On May the 24th, the detectives announced that they had arrested Stephen Williams, her ex-husband, Tricia's ex-husband, because he had confessed to killing her.
What?
Yeah. Apparently, there was more inconsistencies in the story that he was telling that obviously the cops were not going to let us know what was going on. And there's a few things that he said. One of them was that it turns out that Stephen had been driving both cars that night. So they see him on somebody's camera that he had been in Tricia's car and in his car. And when they asked him, he said, "Oh, it's because I put gas in Tricia's car and then I drove it back to my house and then she drove away."
Okay. And drove to her house.
But they're like, that makes no sense because around the time that he was doing the driving was around the time where supposedly the timeline that they thought that Tricia went missing.
But he didn't have his phone on him?
He didn't have his phone on him.
Right.
Not only that, but they found some footage, like I said, where somebody saw him in the area of where everything kind of went down. And he actually took the lie detector test. He offered. Initially. He's like, yeah, I'll take it. He took it, but it was inconclusive.
Yeah. So, and you can cheat those easily.
Well, guess what he did? He took medication to slow down his heart rate so that he wouldn't have the change in the heart rate. But the cops were like, I don't know about this because it did come back inconclusive. But
it doesn't mean anything.
Didn't mean anything. But anyway, that was one of the reasons that they kind of kept looking. Another thing, security footage around Tricia's home saw a male carrying a duffel bag and wearing all black around the time that Stephen was there. When they asked Stephen if that was him, and he said, no, I wasn't around that time at that house, but it was around 4:30 a.m. and 5:30 a.m. So it was about an hour that they saw him walk in and out. So they're multiple times. So they're like, what was he doing?
Right. Even though he was saying that it wasn't him, they knew that it was somebody at least doing that for about an hour.
That they need to find out. So he said, yes, I did kill her. So he told investigators that he was very mad at her and that when he pushed her, she fell and hit her head.
Where were they at?
They were at the Airbnb where he was staying at.
Okay.
So then he said, oh, I was mad at her. I started choking her and she fell and she hit her head. Okay. So then he said he accidentally choked her too far and she died. So now where's Tricia's body? Right. So as I told you before, Tricia did live near woods and a lot of
forest. Wooded area.
So they did, like I said, they had already brought a lot of rescue dogs and all kinds of things to look at.
People
that
were
area.
On the floor looking for her and stuff like that.
But even the detective was like, even if we would have had the best of the best, we wouldn't have been able to find her body. So at this point, they're trying to figure out, hey, dude, tell us where the body's at.
You already told us that you killed her.
You already told us that you killed her. Like, you can hear, because they do have like a whole like hour and a half, 2 hours of his interrogation. And they're talking to him like, come on, tell us what you did. It's okay. We understand you might have taken it too far.
Right.
But
you didn't mean
you're
to.
not that person.
Yeah.
Like kind of like trying to get him to
Mind
say.
games, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, I guess whenever they're going through all of this, he was like, okay, he took a plea deal. So he said, I'll take a plea deal of 35 years, taking off the death penalty because we're in Florida.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you where the body's at. And you'll have a full confession from me. Right. Next thing you know, they're like, okay, well, tell us where the body's at. So the investigators, they knew that he had put the body inside of a box. That's what he had said. Initially. So, but when he took him, there's video of when they took him out there and he literally he put a flag. Para saber dónde estaba. And so he's all like, you need to dig right there and you need to dig like a little bit and it's right there. So when they opened the box, it was like one of those boxes como tackle boxes, como de fishing. Mm-hmm. And there was a torso. Yeah. But the box was only about 3 by 5.
Right.
So there was a torso and it was full of liquid and it smelled really bad. So when the investigators opened the actual thing, some of the body parts, apparently he had dismembered her.
Yeah.
Some of the body parts ya se estaban deshaciendo with the acid that he used.
That was the liquid?
That was the liquid. It was acid. So,
what the fuck?
Yeah. So,
where was Faith?
I'll get to that. Whenever they went on there to ask him where the rest of what happened, tell us what happened. So he actually told them that he had done something even more sinister. He cut off the tips of her fingers and tore off her teeth And he put them on donde está todo el gravel, like the seashells and stuff, all of that.
In the sea, like by the beach.
No, right there by the sanctuary, they had like rocks and gravel and stuff.
Yeah.
So that it could disguise it and nobody would know that it was teeth. So they found like pieces basically of Tricia.
So they did go and look.
Yeah, they went and looked.
They found
They found it. Not only that, but he told them where he had disposed of like
he had Faith with him. He was like
So it was said that he was doing all of this while Faith was
with
there.
him.
Yep. Yeah. Not only that, but like they actually found all of the saws and stuff that he used, and he had thrown them like in the water or whatever, but they still had some pieces of Tricia in them.
What about the rest of her?
Most of it had been disintegrated, and he
put all of her in
a tackle box.
What about her head?
I don't know. All I know is that most of it was already disintegrated because of the acid, because it had been about a month. So we're talking about.
I don't know why I thought it was about a week. No, that's true.
They did say that I guess he thought that they were like, my deal is, why did you take off the fingertips? Did you think that we're not going to find her because of like, what was he thinking? Like, I don't know.
He wasn't, but do we get to know what really happened?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So they also found hair throughout the tools and blood and that kind of thing.
It was Tricia.
So it was Tricia. They did find out that he did premeditate this because he had brought the acid with him to the Airbnb from North Carolina.
What?
Yeah. So he was preparing to do this already, obviously.
So he planned it.
And according to some of the reports, they did speak to Stephen's mom, and his mom said, I know that he did something to her. Like she was like, he was not a good father. He was not like, he was very angry all the time. He would cheat on Tricia all the time. Like,
and how weird that is that que su familia de él knew that he was a piece of shit, but su family de ella no sabía that he was a piece of shit.
Because she would hide it.
Right.
You know, she would hide it. She said that apparently he would get very angry at times because of money, and that Tricia, according to him, would get in his face, which I really highly doubt that, because
she was just probably holding him responsible. Yeah. You know, be a fucking adult.
Yeah. So she said that he was just not a good person, and that she was pretty sure that he had done something to Tricia, even though they find out, like I said before, that she didn't even ask for his alimony.
Right.
All he was paying was just child support. But to him, he didn't want to pay anything, so he was angry about that, apparently.
Bro, that's your kid.
Yeah. The detectives now state that after all of this happened, they wish that they would have never taken that plea deal. The detective says in that interview, he's like, But
then they wouldn't have found her.
Yeah. But he's like, I feel like I made a deal with the devil. He's like, because of what he did to Tricia, and because of the fact that it was so heinous. They said, I've been a detective for more than 35 years, and I've never seen anything like this. He's like, not only that, but the fact that he tried to mix her teeth and all of that with like seashells and shit. Like,
well, he had his daughter with him. That's her mom.
The fact that you stood there and pulled out all of her teeth. It's
like, you can't even imagine it. Like, you can't even imagine that.
Yeah. So like,
obviously that's not something that you do fast. Like, that takes time.
Takes time, of course.
And obviously dismembering the body también.
Yeah,
you know, that takes time.
They're
thinking,
cut off
her fucking fingers.
Yeah, you cut up the tip of her fingers. Like, I don't know. I think that he probably thought that he was doing it because he wanted to get rid of the like fingerprints or something. I don't know. Anyway, so maybe
if for whatever reason they did find the box that he buried her in, they wouldn't have been able to identify her, right?
Yeah.
Because
like I said, the detective was very upset because he said that if it was up to him, he would have been walking straight line to death penalty. He's like, I would have made sure of that. And so the thing is, what Stephen says is that they got into a heated argument, and that she was in his face, and that she was screaming at him and doing all of this, and that he literally did that. He started pushing her, and that he started hitting her, and that he choked her. She passed out. Right. Mm-hmm. But then when she passed out, he didn't know what to do.
So he thought that she had died.
That she had died.
So, according to him.
So then she started screaming. And so then she was going to wake up Faith. So then he like beat her until she died, basically. Then she's like, well, what am I going to do with this body? So then that's when he put up the plan about how he was going to take her in and out.
That's fucking fake because he brought the acid with him since the very beginning.
Exactly. So I think that maybe he was I don't know if maybe he was planning to kill her already. This is what he told the investigators. That's what I found. Obviously, I don't know.
Take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, take it with a grain of salt. It's coming from this guy that is obviously not stable. And he's the devil, for sure. And so Faith is being raised by her...
grandparents?
No, by her uncle. Her uncle has her younger brother, the Tricia. He had a child around the same age. So they're being raised together. And he's like, I'm not looking forward to have to explain that.
When you're older, and it's crazy, like, okay, your mom didn't just get killed, like your dad killed her.
Yeah. And it was believed, and it was believed that Faith was there the whole time that he did all of this. Yeah. Not only that, but you know what? Tricia's family forgave him. They forgive him, and they send him messages about how they forgive him, and they're not mad at him at all. And I'm like, you guys are better people than me, because I would be like, you die, motherfucker. Like, you know,
I'm going to kill you.
Yeah, I'm going to kill you. So,
well, it's because of their faith, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. That's keeping them very strong. And I feel like Faith is going to grow up to be a wonderful young lady. And with the family that she has, it's going to be awesome. They're going to.
And it's kind of sad because I hope, I mean, we don't know, but like, ojalá que la mom, su grandma on
they
Steven's
still see
side.
her.
Okay, that's good.
Because I heard,
they forgave him, of course.
Yeah, they forgave him.
Yeah.
And I think that the dad said that he's been sending him messages through the mom. So I'm guessing that they're okay with that, with her seeing Faith.
Yeah, porque la señora no tiene la culpa.
No tiene la culpa. And that was the story of Tricia Todd.
That's so crazy.
Yeah. So let us know what you think, guys. I found this one on TikTok, but I had already read about this one a long time ago. Mm-hmm. And so then I don't know how I pick my cases. I just was like, click, this is it. But if you can let us know what you think, leave us a message, or, follow us on Instagram at
Cafecito and Crime Pod.
And let us know what you think.
Yeah.
And I guess we'll see you in the next one.
Or we'll talk to you guys in the next one.
Oh, yeah, we don't see you. Oh, no. It's because I keep thinking I have a channel.
No.
But we'll talk to you guys in the next one. Bye.